Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Hello, my name is Alejandro and I am one of the co-hosts of the youth portion of the Healing Generations podcast. You know, we're happy to be back. I know it's been a while since you've all last heard our voices, but we're glad to be back with you all, and thank you for tuning in today. I'm going to go ahead and pass the palabra to my co-host Ariel, who's going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today. Ariel?
Thank you, AB. I just want to reiterate, it's happy to be back. We've missed these conversations. Our youth are definitely out in the streets, doing a lot of activism, doing a lot of good work, and we're excited to hear from everybody. Today, we do have Natalie Cisneros with us here, who I'm excited to hear from. I know she's been a fellow with us this year. She's graduated from both of our programs, both Joven Noble and Girasol. So I'm excited to hear not only her story, but what has allowed her to connect with us in a good way. So Natalie, you already know how we do things. We like to start off with conocimiento. For us, it's always important that we introduce ourselves. So I'm going to pass it to you. Who is Natalie? And who arrived today?
Hi, I'm Natalie. Today arrived girl excited to go to colleges because I want to go to college now after the tours. I was born and raised in Eastside San Jose. I'm the oldest of 3 daughters. So I'm like half daughter, half sister, half mom. So it's like all over the place sometimes. And I have 2 amazing supporting parents. I was introduced to NCN through Foothill when I first joined a year and a half ago. And then ever since, I've just been stuck to them like a leech.
I will say that we're honored that you continue to come back. And we're honored that you were able to receive the internship and the fellowship this summer. So she just mentioned, that she came from college campus tour. So part of the fellowship this summer is they go through advanced teachings and some of the medicine teachings, but they also get to visit college campuses. So we just came from San Jose State University and Santa Clara University, where Miguel Ozuna gave us a little tour and just blessed us up with some storytelling. So it was good. It's been good. AB, I'll pass it to you. We're going to get this conversation going.
Thank you. I just want to honor one of the things you said, and I think it's something that's underappreciated in this generation, in this world, and being the oldest daughter. You said you had to carry, being the big sister, being the mom role, being the parental figure when those couldn't be there. So I just want to honor that you said that and, welcome space for that. And thank you for sharing that. Tell us a little bit about your childhood when it comes to holding, those titles for yourself. Like, how was that like? What was some gifts, some baggages about that?
Some gifts would have to be that I'm ready for when I have my own kids. I feel like I would be ready, and I'm like, okay, I know how to discipline. I know how to change their diapers, how my patience a bit. Well, it's not a lot of there, but because they're still my sisters at the end of the day, so I crash out on them sometimes. But baggages is that they just rely on me so much. They're like, oh, Nati this, or oh, Nati, go do this, Nati, go do that. And I'm like, oh, you have other daughters too. But then I'm like, okay, if it's not me, who's going to do it? And they can't do it, I'll just do it. So I always end up giving in to them. So it's a love-hate relationship, but it's more love because I love my sisters and I love my parents.
I love that because it's the balance, right? Some of the things that we get asked to do, especially, I know you just graduated high school, so we'll go into high school in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's true, right? Sometimes it's hard to tell our parents no. I know I'm the executive assistant in my house because when I come home, it's beautiful to see my mom and my dad. But then they're like, oh, mijo, can you read this? Or, hey, I got this letter. Or, hey, I need this. Hey, can you take your little brother here? And it's just it's a love-hate, right?
Yeah, literally. My mom has me reading, sending emails, sending texts, doing calls. And I'm like, you have another bilingual daughter too. But I'm like, I'll do it. But I just can't tell them no. It's no me nace to tell them no.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely hard, right? Especially establishing boundaries. But going back to your childhood, is there one fond memory of growing up that you loved the most about growing up in your house? Tell us a little bit about that.
I would probably say that our parents were all about us. about me and my sister. They like always put us first, and like they're like, "Oh, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to go?" And they would always want to make memories with us. But as me and my sister started getting older, they would like, "Oh, you guys don't want to go?" And we're like, "No, we don't want to go." So then my youngest sister came around because we left them alone. You know, can't leave adults alone nowadays. Can't trust them. So 7 years later, I have basically half daughter, half sister. But it's okay because I love her so much. I have a strange attachment to my sisters and my parents.
I know my mom like swore like the older we got, the less we were gonna want to hang out with her, and now she can't get me and my sister to like get away from her. And she's all out, and we're all stalking her location. Like, who said you could be out this late? All crazy. Like,
there's
what?
times she goes to this bingo with like family friends, and then she leaves like at 7, and it's like 11:30. And I call her. I'm like, "What do you think you are, lady? Like, you have 3 daughters to attend. Like, what?" And she's like, I'm going. And then it's so funny because I don't yell at her, but I catch her attention. And then she's like, "Oh my God, you're acting like a mom right now." I'm like, well, someone has to discipline you too. What the hell? You're not the only one disciplining around here.
I'll keep an eye on her all strict.
Yeah, I check everybody, down to my dad too.
So don't worry, because you'll notice that the roles will start to switch. Like I'm at that stage right now when I'm starting to parent my parents. Ama, you shouldn't be drinking that soda. Hey, Dad, you just got surgery. You need to rest. So you're going to notice as you start to get older and you start to shift in responsibilities, like that, those roles reverse. And it's almost like I always said I was never going to become my parents, but now I am my parents. Hay frijoles en la casa, and that's what we going to eat. Right. So, we talked a little bit about your upbringing, but let's transition a little bit to high school. You ended up at Foothill High School, and we were, more than happy to receive you as part of the group. How did you get to Foothill High School? How was your high school transition? Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, my high school, it was all over the place, honestly, because freshman year was quarantine, and then sophomore year, I went in as a freshman because I didn't have a freshman year. So I was goofing around. And then I went back years, basically. Like, instead of my sophomore year, my sophomore year was my freshman year. And then my junior year was my sophomore year. And my senior year was my junior year. Until one of the counselors were like, "No, you have to move." And I told them I didn't want to move. I was like, "This is my home school. Where am I going to go?" And I thought Foothill was on the other side of San Jose because I live on the east side. I was like, I'm going to have to mob to the other side of San Jose. They're going to want to take me somewhere else. And I told them I didn't want to. But then it turned out it was around the corner. And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, it's not that bad. So I went to orientation. And then I started August 2023. Then I finished last year. And then I was a closed book. A completely closed book, like sealed, like with glue closed. And then I started talking to more of the staff at Foothill. They're like, "Oh, you should join this group." Shout out to Ms. Leo. Ms. Leo. She's the one that pushed me to do everything. She pushed me to make friends, pushed me to get out there more. And then I was like, fine. At first I was iffy about it because I was like, I had to talk about my feelings with people I don't even know. I was like, these people are going to talk about me. But then I started getting comfortable with Citlali, and then I met Ariel. Then I found out they were siblings. I was like, why didn't you tell me this? I was like, why wasn't I not informed? And they're like, yeah, we're siblings. And I was like, oh, shoot, that's so crazy. And then ever since, it's just been a journey. It's been a good one, too, because Foothill changed me a lot of when I was in my homeschool.
I want to shout out the thing you said about thinking Foothill was across town. Because when I started doing work there, I used to live off of Toyon, which is right there.
Yeah.
You go and the Foothill's right there. I never knew there was a school right there. No one could convince me that a school was right there. So I've always said it's like a little secret paradise that no one knows about because it's so hidden.
Literally, I was like, whoa, where's this school been? I could have been graduated. in this amazing school. Like what? It's so like quiet. Everyone's to themselves. And that's how I was in the beginning. But then I started talking more with the school staff. So I would be in the office more often. I would get passes and stuff. And then I started making more friends towards the end of my the years I was going to be there. And then I was like, damn, I could have made friends when I first started here, but I was just so closed up that I chose not to make any type of friends.
So one of the things that you mentioned right now was that Foothill was like a little paradise, and that you came as a closed book, sealed, and we're going to open up. And then once you got connected to the staff, you realize you're like, where has this school been my whole life? What was different about Foothill that you didn't receive at your comprehensive school that allowed you to graduate? Like what was it about Foothill that allowed you to be successful?
Honestly, how much attention they gave to each individual student. Like I could walk by like literally every single class and they would wave, or they would know my name or just wave and smile at you. And every staff would know your name, say hi, how's your day been? And then at my home school, I didn't even know who the principal was at times. I thought the secretary was the principal. And then they're like, no, the principal is this so-and-so. And I was like, oh, I thought it was that lady. They're like, no, the principal was almost never here. I was like, damn. And I never liked big crowds because I get overstimulated. So moving to Foothill was like, okay, it was more of like what I liked, like more small crowds.
Yeah, I love that about Foothill. Like, right, we talk about in Circle about conocimiento, about acknowledging people as they come on campus. And the fact that almost every student knows the principal by name, or might go into her office to get a water, or, you know, whatever it might be, like she makes herself accessible. So definitely shout out to Ms. Ramirez doing great work at Foothill High School. I love that.
Yes, I love that too, because I never thought I would be so close to a principal. I was like, the principals are the ops at school. Like, they're 911 at school. But moving to Foothill, it was like, it completely changed me as a person and how I thought about people at school.
Yeah.
And like giving opportunities and stuff.
Yeah, the only time I got introduced to principals in the past was when I got in trouble.
Literally.
So going
that
to
was
Foothill,
a lot, wasn't it? Yes.
It was. My mom was there all the time. So I think at Foothill, that transition, right? It's needed, but it's also like someone's receiving you in a good way where you feel seen. So I love that about there.
Yeah, Foothill changed my perspective of getting phone calls home. Because I would race home just so my mom wouldn't answer that phone. But now I'd be like, oh, did so-and-so call you from school? And they're like, yeah, they told me that you're doing so good and this and that. And then she would hug me, but she used to yell at me so bad. And I used to just go straight to my room. Like, I do not want to hear this. But then Foothill just changed everything.
I think, like Ariel was saying, like the big difference about Foothill and other schools, like my home school is Silver Creek. And that school is so big. It's like a community college almost. So like staff didn't know your name unless you saw them every single day there. And I think the big difference about Foothill for me, like walking on to that school as like a semi-staff, is you could just see the trust between everyone. And you knew like even if you were getting in trouble, it wasn't because they didn't like you or they were mad at you. It's because they wanted what was best for you. And you knew that too, you know? So I think seeing the trust between staff and students really made it it's the reason why it's like my ideal idea of what a high school should look like for people.
Yeah.
And, you know, the idea of feeling seen is something we talk a lot about in Círculo. We talk in Girasol, in Joven Noble, you know, feeling seen, making sure you're going around, shaking everyone's hand, acknowledging everyone. Like, who are you bringing into space that day? So I want to ask you, what's one lesson, one memory you have from being in Círculo at Foothill or now as an LCC fellow that you want to highlight?
Probably for Girasol would be the who are you? Because it just pushed me to think of myself of more of what I actually am. And when I did it, I was doing it with my best friend, so we couldn't stop laughing, and we just kept on laughing at each other. And I was like, girl, stop laughing at me. I'm like, I'm being for real with you. And then when she did it, I laughed at her. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't feel good, huh? But it was so fun because they were all laughs and giggles. Like, it never felt like, oh, I'm in group with her, or like, oh, why is she here? It was just like, it was so warming. And then learning palabra, like how much it means to somebody, how much it, like, just the word palabra, like, can sustain, like, keeping your word is like who you are. It's like your dignity. You know, like, that was so cool to me because I never thought about it. I thought the guys were just goofing around, honestly. I was like, they're just goofing.
I mean, they are most of the time.
I was like, they're just calling it group, but, and then it turned out they were actually doing stuff, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then I was damn near gonna cry every time. And Ariel told me if I wanted to do palabra. And I was like, me? I was like, you're choosing everyone, and out of everyone, you're choosing me. And then I did it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, no, you definitely earned it. You know, I love how you described palabra, that it's connected to dignity. Because I think, you know, even talking about the principal's office, when my mom would get called and have to show up, she said, mijo, ¿con qué cara voy a llegar? With what face am I going to show up? And that would remind me that my words and my actions impacted her dignity too. And sometimes I didn't know that. I thought it only impacted me. Right. So in Circle, I got an opportunity to know that. Now, you also mentioned being part of Circle 4 different times. Yeah. Right. You did Palabra with Tove Noble. You did Girasol. You came back, did advanced teaching. So you've been in it. So let me ask you, what brought you back? Like, what made you want to come back and continue to connect and continue to learn?
Because it was fun and I really liked it. And it's not like during group, I didn't even feel like I was in school. Like, I felt I was just hanging out with friends in a room, or like we were in somebody's room and then we're all just hanging out, making our dream catchers, our moon cycles, and everything, and just talking, because we did like games, and Lord, we got competitive in there, and it was just so much fun. I just really liked it because then it took me out of my comfort zone, but I was comfortable in that space and with the girls I was with. Like, my first year, yeah, I was really like, yeah, my water's this, my water's that. But like the second group, I was like, yeah, my water feels like a river. It feels like this. It feels like that. I would get more into depth with it because I felt more comfortable. And right now, it doesn't even feel like I'm working. It feels like I'm just with friends. So it's like so much fun. And my best friends here.
That's definitely the best part of the work that we do. You know, it's like, it doesn't feel like actual work because you're enjoying it. Yeah. And I feel like a stigma around like what career you choose and stuff like that is like, you work to make money and that's it. But for what we do, it's a different, like, help others feel good, helps make me feel good. So this doesn't feel like I'm on the clock right now, you know, which I think is such a beautiful thing. You know, you mentioned something in Girasol, and it was that you thought you're going to be crying the whole time and this and that, but it's filled with so much laughter, which I feel like with our young men, we hear the opposite. You know, they think it's going to be like giggles and sunshine and rainbows the whole time. And then it ends up, you know, they start feeling a lot. So I just want to highlight that you said that, and in such a beautiful way. Thinking of who sits in group with you all 4 times you've done it, even now, like who sits with you right now. Is there someone you want to highlight that's made group become even more fun for you, that's made it even more memorable, that has walked with you through these teachings?
Probably Citlali and Kaylin, because they've been so like open and like, oh, you got this, or like, if I can't make it, they're like, oh, girl, it's okay, you just come next time. And just being like recognized and getting my shirts. Like, my shirts like mean everything. Because my sisters like to wear my shirts. I'm like, girls, you can't wear my shirts. You get to have your own clothes. And they're like, can I wear this shirt? Can I wear this shirt? I was like, yeah, but you can't wear my Girasol or Palabra shirt. They're like, why? I was like, because I earned those. I was like, you do a group and you earn your own. What the hell? And then they're like, you're so weird about them. I was like, because it's like, they have a meaning to it. Like my room has a meaning to it. Like, I have a whole like little shrine of Palabra
So, you called it a shrine, right? And I think we all hold it to that regard, right? Like I have my palabra shirts on my altar, at least the ones that I can't wear anymore. I either outgrew or they're a little faded. But it's important, right? Because those palabra shirts mean a lot to us because we earned them. We sat in circle, we made our commitment, and we implemented those teachings for ourselves. So I love that. The other thing that I love is giving people flowers, right? So you mentioned Citlali and Kaylin. One's my blood little sister, and the other one is like a little sister. So I got major love for both of them. If they were in this room, what are some words of gratitude that you would share with both of them?
I'll probably cry in their arms. Because they just, I don't know, they just help me so much.
A little shout out specifically to Citlali, because I sat in one of her first female groups at Foothill, and that compared to how I see it is now, she has shaped that group into what it is in such a beautiful way, and seeing how she honors you guys and seeing how she lifts you guys up. Like, she's definitely like the big sister on campus. And it's such a beautiful thing to see young women get appreciated in a way that they want to be appreciated in. So big shout out to Citlali, a big shout out to Caitlin, who I know is still learning, but she learns with like a smile on her face. Like, people could be like, no, you're not doing that right. And she'd be like, okay, let me redo it then.
Yeah.
So she's just like they're like optimism and realism. And it's just so cool to see them like mesh together. They're like the sun and the moon. So big shout out to them and the work that they do with Girasol and with you all. I want to talk more about your LCC fellowship, which is what you guys are doing right now in that office. I, a couple years ago, was where you guys were. Y'all got a lot easier because we had to move desk and like break down stuff. Like, we had the labor side of it.
They built our office.
Yeah, basically. So shout out to y'all for getting to, really just sit in the teachings. I think that's something beautiful. What has been and I know it's like, still feels like it's barely starting for you, but what's one of your favorite memories of the summer so far? And it doesn't have to be within Círculo. It could just be something in the office, like Ariel found his face or something like that. That's just throwing it out there.
Don't get me started.
Just what's one of your favorite memories that you've had within that office?
My favorite one would have to be, I think it was last Wednesday. We're all sitting in Ariel's office and we're just talking about like the superpowers we would want and why. And like everyone's so involved, and it felt like there's like 3 people in the fellowship that I personally never talked to when I went to Foothill. But now that I'm here, it's like I see a completely different person. And I'm like, damn, I never knew you acted like this. Or like, whoa, like I wouldn't expect it if I was at school. And it's like, damn, they're actually like cool people. But yeah, that was probably my favorite one because we were all just there vibing. Like, no cares in the world, just waiting until they said go.
I love that story because we all got into it. And I think one of the unique things about this summer is whatever we decide to do, everybody's bought in 100%. One of the morning icebreakers was asking ChatGPT debate questions. And it was like, the number one question was like, does pineapple belong on pizza? And then that sparked the whole debate. And then the number 2 question was like, what superhero power would you have if you only had it for 24 hours and then it would disappear? So it's like people were like, I want to fly. I want to, telekinesis. I want to teleport. And it just, a simple question allows people to just tell us a little bit about their story without necessarily talking about themselves. And I love that because everybody answered, everybody bought in, and it turned into like an hour discussion. And some people will say, well, that's silly. But to us, that's healing. Like, getting people to open up a little bit is healing. Getting people to share their story is healing. Like, I want to travel because, me and my family didn't get an opportunity to do that. I want to teleport because I wish I could be with my mom and dad at the same time. Like, that's healing. So let me ask, you Natalie, in being connected, what have you learned about healing, and how would you describe healing for our listeners?
Healing to me would have to be forgiveness, being able to forgive, because I'm still currently working on it because, I don't know, I just hold grudges and I just hold on to stuff so much. But it would have to be healing and moving on. because since I hold on to it, it's always just there, poking at me, poking at me, poking at me. And I just let things like build up until I explode. And then I'm like, okay, that's not very cute of me to do. So I'm like, I need to start letting go, because I don't want like my sisters to see me blow up, so they do it. So I'm like, yeah, I can't set that example. I already went to continuation school. Like, what? I have to like flip my life over so they could see the better of me and not see like a bad influence, or I guess. Even though I'm not. My mom says I'm not because I kept on going. But I'm like, no, I should have graduated the right way.
You still graduated, though, and that means something. And just because you went to continuation school doesn't demean any of the work that you had to do to get where you are. If anything, it makes you even more powerful because you had the option to stop going. You had the option to give up, and you were like, nah, I'm going to keep doing this. Yeah. And a lot of people would have taken that out. So don't break down what you're doing to uplift others. You know, I think it's beautiful the way that you're able to say, I graduated. I'm looking at college campuses. When it comes to healing, you know, a lot of people expect it to be like one path. Like, oh, I have to do this and then drink water and then take my vitamins and then I'm healed of everything bad. You know, like I did sage and all of a sudden I'm the Messiah, you know, like I know everything that has to do with healing. Left. Yeah. But I think it's beautiful that you bring up forgiveness. You know, I think that's something that not a lot of us think of because it has to do with others. And when I think of healing, I think of what do I need to work on myself, but forgiving others is also a big space. It's like this is like off my shoulders now that I forgive them. And I'm sure it feels the same way for the other person. When I think of healing, I think of, you know, when I found my sacredness, to be able to say like, I am as a person is amazing. Like nothing's going to stop that. So I want to ask you, what was that moment for you? Like it like flipped in your head where you're like, damn, like I'm Natalie, I'm sacred as hell. Like y'all can't take that away from me.
I would probably say when I noticed what I did, others noticed. I was like, if I don't go here, other people are going to ask, oh, where is she? Why isn't she here? Or like text me or call me like, oh, are you going to come? Or are you going to go? And I'm like, damn, like I matter in people's lives. And I was like, that was the moment that I realized I was sacred. It's probably just my sister. It was just my sisters. Honestly, my world's around my sisters.
So I like that. I think everybody discovers that we're sacred in a different way. A lot of the times we discover it because of connections we have with other people, like your little sisters, because you're probably their hero. They probably annoy you, and you're probably their hero.
Yes, they do.
But thinking about that, I want you not to think about them as your little sisters, but I want you to think about them as your little you. What would you say to your little you if you had an opportunity to speak to her? What advice would you give yourself?
You want me to cry, huh?
No, I don't. But if it's calling for you to cry, we always accept your tears.
I would probably just say to like not change for anyone. Because I changed myself for like a lot of people. And I was like, damn, now that I'm like in the internship and I went through all the circles I went through, I was like, damn, I really switched myself up for a partner. I already searched myself up for a friend. And I was like, no, they're not even here. I was like, damn. I'll probably tell her that. And I'll just hug her.
Yeah. See, now you're making me cry. So you didn't want to cry. I didn't want to cry. But it's all right. We're going to lean into it. But, you know, I want to hold on to that for a little bit. Because I think all of us could use that advice. I've changed for a lot of people. I've even changed for me, thinking I wanted a different version of me because I didn't think I was worthy enough. So I think if I could speak to my younger self, and I'm going to be real with you, if I could speak to myself in the mirror right now, I would hold myself too and say, I don't need to change for nobody. One of the teachings that Maestro Jerry taught me that Mario reinforces a lot is I'm sacred just the way I am. And Maestro Jerry says, mijo, you ain't got to lose 10 pounds. You ain't got to get another degree. You ain't got to do nothing. Like, if you want to go do that for you, go do that. But you ain't got to do that for nobody else. You're sacred and worthy just the way you stand right there. And sometimes we need those reminders.
Yeah. And I noticed I changed for like friends because of the friends and like partner I have now. Like they all like accepted me how I am. Because I'm like very goofy and outgoing and I make jokes and I make fun of people. Like even down to the way I dressed, I would change. I was like, damn girl, like why didn't you wear that? Or like the people I would talk to, I wouldn't talk to anybody. And like now I'm like more out there. So Circle and Foothill changed that about me. They made me like open my eyes. Like, damn, you don't need those people in your life.
You know, it's beautiful that your circle made you realize like you don't have to dim your light for people. You know, like whoever's gonna love you is gonna stay with you for the real you, no matter what that is, no matter who that is. I could tell you're a very goofy person and I just met you 40 minutes ago. So, you know, I feel like you're a lovely human being and anyone who gets to have you in their life is very blessed.
Yeah.
Bring up the spirits a little. I got a question. It's one of my favorite questions. My question for you is, you have a microphone, right? And this microphone, the whole world could hear what you're about to say on this microphone. What's one issue you want to lift up right now?
Like worldwide?
Worldwide.
Probably the appreciation towards Mexicans or Latino people in general. Because it's like, I'm about to get angry about this, but it's like, how are you going to hate the race that puts food on your table? Like, we're the reason that everyone has food, everyone has milk, everyone has meat, everyone has these fruits at the stores. It's just it's so unfair. Not a lot of people appreciate Mexicans, and it's like, there's times that our own culture hates on us too. And it's like, damn, you wouldn't like it if it was, this hate was directed towards you instead of you hating on other people. So it's just, that's just the one thing that sucks. And especially with all this ICE movement going on currently, it's like, it's so scary because it's like, do we let our parents out? It's just so scary because you don't know what's going to happen or like if you're ever going to see them again. For like all my like immigrant parents out there, it's just scary knowing that you're going to leave your babies, even if they're not babies anymore. You're going to leave your babies in a foreign country and you might not be able to see them again. And that's probably just the main thing I would say. And hate towards Black people. They get as much hate as Mexicans. And it's not fair that just because our skin is darker or we talk a certain way or we dress a certain way, like we get stereotyped. Because there's times that people that aren't even Mexican or Black or get stereotyped for being that. And it's not fair. This world's so unfair for no reason.
Yeah, I think that hits home with me, right? I'm undocumented. I was born in Mexico, raised in Eastside San Jose, and there's some barriers that I had to encounter because of that. So when I think about our immigrant communities, I want to expand a little bit, right? Because I also, and I heard the comment you said earlier, but I want to include our API community with us. Because I think about our Chinese relatives that built the railroads, right? Transcontinental railroads that connected the whole nation. I think about our Filipino communities like the Larry Itlions that started with a great movement and then that expanded to Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, right? Our African rooted relatives too, that we had to stand alongside them during the Black Lives Matter movement. Like people of color have been directly impacted and targeted by people of power. For what?
Because they have power and they want to do it.
So I love that you want to lift that up because, yes, right now the immigrant communities, they're the ones building the homes. And that's why ICE raids are happening at workplaces. Yes, they're the ones picking the fruit, picking the vegetables that eventually make it to our tables for practically nothing. That is their current day slavery. So I think that all needs to be highlighted. And I love all the people of color that have also stood up in response to that. Right. Because I think now more than ever, we have to be unified in that front. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And I back you up 100%.
I want to highlight what you said because I feel like it's such a taboo topic right now, even though for us, you know, it's happening like literally in our neighborhoods, in our streets. You know, I live in Gilroy, which is like mostly Latino, but people act like it's all white, even though Latinos are the ones that carry this economy in Gilroy, you know? And you see it happening left and right where like ICE raids are happening and people are scared to go out of their homes right now. Like I work at Target, which boycott Target. But I'm fully about that life. But it's crazy to see how not busy our store is anymore. Because there's no more señoras coming in. Because there's no more. It's just you don't see anyone that looks like me anymore in our stores. And it's because they're scared. And so I think it's definitely those of us who are documented, those of us who have the privilege of being able to go out there and, you know, yell on like ICE person's face or, and I just really want to highlight, you know, what's going on, especially in Eastside San Jose, because, you know, it's a scary world we live in right now, but it's not as documented as much as LA is, but they're doing the work too. They're doing the protests. They're doing the boycotts. They're speaking out as much as any other part of California is. I want to ask you, in the world we live in right now, you know, there's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of anger, which is all warranted. When you think of your future and you think of where Natalie Cisneros is going to be in 10 years' time, what's one good thing that you're like, I'm going to do that?
Probably take my dad and my mom out of working because I feel like they provided for us for so much, so long. It's like, damn. Like, I want to be able to provide for you guys because, I don't know, I'm going to just mom them so hard that they're going to want to cry and want to make me be 10 years old again so they could get on me instead of me getting on them. So I probably just want to get them to stop working completely because their health is like, I know it's going to be bad once I'm old enough to work and have a stable job. So it's like, I want them to stop working. And then, like, me and my sister already have this plan. She's like, I'm going to buy their house. And then you could just help them with, like, the groceries and stuff. And I could pay half of the bills and you could pay half of the bills. I was like, okay. I was like, this is the first smart thing you tell me, bro. It's the first smart thing. And she's like, well, yeah, because I don't want them to work for the rest of their lives. I was like, okay, mom can do it. But my dad is like, he could fix a chair that's perfectly fine just because he needs to do something. Will clean the yard just to say he cleaned it. And I'm like, bro, like, lay down, kick your feet back, go to sleep or something. And he's like, I can't. There's so many stuff to do. And the house could be spotless. The yard could be spotless. The cars could be spotless. Like, he always has something he has to do. I'm like, you don't have to do it. Like, and I told my mom the same thing too, because the inside of the house is my mom, and the outside of the house is my dad. And I told her, like, you don't have to clean. We're not gonna tell you why didn't you clean that. You're supposed to clean that. And she's like, I know, but I have to do it. I'm like, I could do it on Monday. I'm like, I could do it on Monday. I could do it on Friday. My sister could do it. Because we're like, we know you work. You guys both work. Like, me and my sister are on it.
You know, it almost feels like we grew up in the same house because my mom, she's a housekeeper. She works for the Marriott and cleans hotels every day. And when she comes home, she cleans the inside of our house every day. My dad works construction. So he does landscaping, cement work, bricklaying. So he takes care of the outside of the house. And I'm telling you, they go to their day job, to then a side job, to then come home, and that's their another job. And they just don't know how to rest. Like, they were never taught how to rest. And my mom would be like, Ma, limpia eso mañana, or we'll take care of it. And she's like, nope, the ancestors are going to get mad because your abuelita would have never, you know, this and that. And that's just like, my parents don't know how to rest.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
Yeah, there's times I, like, low-key raise my voice at them. I'm like, you have to take a step back. And I learned how to clean the way my mom likes it for the same reason. I'm like, you need to rest. Because there's times she could be major headache. She could be damn near dying. And I'm like, go lay down, take a nap. She's like, no, I need to cook. I'm like, my sister got it. Because my sister likes to cook. So that's like, I like to clean. She likes to cook. So we like evened it out. So when like, my sister could cook, just tell us what you need and we'll cook it. And she's like, no, it's because your dad's going to get home and I haven't done the food. And I'm like, Ma, my sister can do it. And she's like, no, Nati, I can't. I was like, if you can't, then I'll go to sleep.
Yeah.
And she's like, you just want to go to sleep. I was like, yeah, so you choose who goes to sleep, me or you. And she's like, fine, I'll try to go to sleep. And then she goes to sleep for like 2 hours. And when she wakes up, I was like, no que no te vas a dormir? And she's like, ay, Nati, nomás estaba jugando.
Hey, sometimes we got to ground our parents.
Yes.
Sometimes we got to say, you know what? Go to your room, go rest. We'll take care of the responsibilities. And sometimes the way that my mom and dad works, it takes 3 or 4 of us to carry one person's roles. So I feel you. But as a way to close up, I want to first thank you for sharing all that you did, sharing the laughter, sharing the goofiness, sharing your tears, sharing those hard stories. All of that's welcomed. And I know that our listeners are going to benefit from that truly. As a way of closing up, I want to first pass it to you, Natalie, and then to Alejandro. Is there any closing remarks that you want to leave us with? What are some closing thoughts, reflections that we want to close up with today?
I would probably say, always be yourself. Love yourself for who you are. And don't change yourself for anybody, regardless of who they are.
Beautifully said. Alejandro?
Just want to give a big thank you to you, Natalie, for being our first podcast back in a while. I can't imagine a better guest. You know, you brought the funniness and the seriousness. It's a good mesh for us. So a big thank you to you. Big thank you to our listeners for sticking with us, for not giving up on us. We're back. We're better than ever. We have a couple podcasts already lined up and ready to go to make sure y'all stay connected. And a big thank you to Ariel for being here as always.
Thank you. And I think that closes us up in a beautiful way. For our folks who are listening, you can follow us on Facebook under the National Compadres Network, on Instagram and Twitter under La Cultura Cura. And don't forget to follow the Healing Generation podcast. Until next time, thank you all.
Thank you.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.